So what's the deal with AI in Battletech? And I'm not talking about on the tabletop, the hex map, AI controlling mechs to face off against you. I'm talking about in the narrative, how Battletech, this state of perpetual war, total warfare, the tech is actually extremely, extremely advanced. We've got interstellar communication. We've got star drives. Just the interface with the neuro helmet alone, that in itself, to be able to interface with a mech and control it and get that feedback, in addition to the different tech and systems out there, wouldn't it seem natural at some point if AI was developed? And this was a question kind of going back and forth as we were exploring the narrative. Most of the narrative that we explore is a friend of mine when we're painting up our mechs, we're working on some terrain, and we're thinking about some different unique mission possibilities or ways to explore our miniature collections. One of them was AI. And from what I remember in the lore, there is, or was, or probably still is, a very, very advanced AI system. As the Star League kind of reached its heights, the AI tech was there, but in a limited manner. And it's interesting to see the kind of bleak outlook of Battletech, or perhaps realizing the human outlook of Battletech, where the Star League had this very real fear of if you had total AI control, that would not help the generals, the commanders, the various forces. It would be like a kind of Terminator Future War, Skynet, steal and go against humanity. So from my understanding was AI existed, but only up to a point, maybe sub-command or command of some units. There were some starships and some mechs that were completely AI controlled. But I think that danger kind of took it to the point where the Star League realized to go full-blown AI, fully controlled, it's better to keep things in control of humanity, where at least for the most part, we'll be able to follow orders and keep the wraps on things. So that led to kind of some interesting mission dynamics. One of the things that we're always exploring is the idea of lost tech. And within that narrative, you can design your own mechs or come up with some new experimental tech and just say it's been rediscovered. Because not only has so much been lost, but so much is barely being maintained. And this idea of finding tech, restoring tech. One of the great ways on the tabletop to get this kind of feel out of your miniatures, if we're playing the Stalker, right? I say the Stalker because it's one of my favorite mechs, but also because it illustrates kind of in the inner sphere, a great, amazing mech, multiple weapon systems, multiple ranges, but you can't use it all at once. It's very ammo dependent. It can explode. It can't push the heat. You take that miniature and play it with restored Star League tech, mount some clan tech on it, put some double heat sinks in, cut the ammo down, put in case. It becomes, not only does the battle value go up, of course, but that one Stalker easily becomes the force multiplier of 3 or 4 Stalkers on the table. So from that perspective, if I was a commander and I could rediscover some Star League AI, that could be possibly massive, even if it's just limited AI to help supplement, right? Plug it into the Cyclops command mech and go from there. Does Comstar still have it? If we're moving beyond clans to Jihad, Word of Blake, things like that, do they have it? I believe it is out there. But again, in a kind of very, very limited battlefield role support. Is that true AI or kind of advanced tactical systems? Something like the Mobile HQ on absolute steroids with some limited decision-making abilities. In your opinion, my fellow Battletech enthusiasts, when I say Battletech AI, and we'll get to the hex maps and being able to play out and try interesting tacticas from that perspective sooner rather than later, but jumping back to that narrative, does AI, as we envision it now in 2024, not necessarily 1980s AI, does that exist? Did it exist? Could it exist? Is it waiting to exist to be rediscovered?